To wear a bikini and attract the wealthy Zane Harrington at a yacht party, my wife chose to terminate our 3-month-old child. After a night of revelry, she returned home disheveled. I felt deeply saddened, but she showed no concern, even arguing with me that if I hadn't married her, the yacht and the party would have been hers. And she wouldn't have resorted to such means to attract Zane. After he was with me, he realized I was already married and didn't want me to be his mistress. "It's all your fault," she glared at me angrily, suddenly hugged me tightly and rushed out onto the balcony. We fell from the high building together, landing with a terrible crash. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to before I confessed my feelings to her. This time, I decided to stop paying attention to her and devote myself entirely to my career. And she got what she wanted, escaping me, her worthless suitor, and successfully marrying Zane. 7 years later, at her island birthday party, she saw me holding another woman in my arms and felt a pang of panic. After diving, I was carrying my gear back to my room to change when I saw a party taking place on the lawn. In the center of the lawn was a large heart made of red roses, with the name Ilara Winslow written on it. I froze for a moment, about to leave, but then saw Ilara wearing a strapless evening gown, surrounded by her former colleagues. "Ilara, Zane is really rich and treats you so well. This island is a private property. We have to apply and wait in line just to come here for a vacation." Not only did he effortlessly arrange such a luxurious birthday party for you here, but he also booked the entire 2 floors of the hotel for the guests. "I'm so jealous of you for marrying such a great husband. We still have to work so hard at the office. Did your husband invite any wealthy guests today? Could you introduce us, by the way? Why isn't Thorn Everlie here? He doesn't truly love you, he just wants to get close to you, right? He must feel humiliated." After Ilara rejected his confession, he was so heartbroken he even quit his job. He has no ambition at all. Ilara heard everyone talking about her, and her smile froze on her face, her expression turning serious. Everyone continued discussing, "He's such a shameless person. Back then, he dared to compete with Zane for you. He's so arrogant. I remember when he was holding sunflowers and riding a bicycle to pick up Ilara, and he happened to see Zane's trunk filled with red roses. The difference was so obvious. But you know what? Thorn showed off his pearly whites and smiled with such devotion and confidence. Is that what they call perseverance in love? It sounds more like stubbornness to me." Everyone laughed. They didn't know that Ilara actually didn't like red roses. She preferred sunflowers. Despite that, it didn't stop her from falling for other guys. In our previous life, after graduating from university, we both interned at the same company and gradually developed feelings for each other. She once blushed and told me, "Thorn, every time I look into your eyes, my heart races like a deer." At that time, I truly believed in our love, even when she decided to terminate the pregnancy without consulting me. I was willing to forgive her if she was willing to admit her mistake. However, her heart and body belonged to someone else. I sighed. Just then, a tourist walked by and asked, "How much for a dive?" Ilara and the other guests turned around at the sound, their faces filled with disdain. "Speak of the devil, Thorn, I didn't expect you to actually show up. But why are you dressed like this for Ilara's birthday party? Does he really want to steal her away? Is he planning to escape with her from the sea? Ha ha ha. Look in the mirror and see what you look like first. Ilara's husband has a private yacht. How could he swim faster than a yacht?" I didn't care about their mockery. I just wanted to change out of my soaking wet clothes. Ilara saw the expression on my face and didn't know what I was thinking. She then smiled and said, "Thorn, you actually followed me here." I replied simply, "I'm not here to attend your birthday party." Someone said sarcastically, "He wouldn't dare to come to such a luxurious party openly. Look at his outfit. He looks like an ordinary diving instructor. He heard you were having a party here and rushed over to flatter you really. You used to work so well at our company. How did you end up like this?" Ilara's eyes flashed with sympathy, Then she said sarcastically, "Thorn, how did you end up working here? You're in your 30s. How did you end up with such a bleak future?" I wore a faint expression. "I work here, but I'm not a diving instructor. This island is mine." Before I could finish, an unfriendly voice came from behind me. Thorn Zane saw me and his expression clearly darkened. He turned to Alara and said, "Is this why you chose to celebrate your birthday on this island?" Alara quickly grabbed his arm and shook her head, saying, "Honey, you're misunderstanding. I didn't know he was a diving instructor on the island. We just happened to run into him today." Zane furrowed his brows slightly. "A diving instructor? Thorn, how did you end up like this?" "Because of your past relationship with Alara, I handed over all the diving tours for the guests here to you." He patted my shoulder. "This can help you earn some extra money. Don't say I didn't help you." He was deliberately mocking me, but I felt nothing inside. Thinking of my wife waiting for me, I prepared to leave, but he reached out and stopped me. "Such a big business deal. You should at least offer me a drink to show your gratitude." I looked at him coldly. "I don't need it. I'm not a diving instructor." Alara thought I was putting on a brave face. "You're like this now. Is face more important than money? We're helping you out of old friendship. Don't be so ungrateful. There are a lot of wealthy guests here today. Serve them well, and you might find a better job on their private yachts in the future." Once again, Alara looked down on me as usual. "Alara, I'm doing just fine now. I don't need your help finding a job, and let me make this clear again. I'm not a diving instructor, and I didn't come here for your birthday party. I'm just passing by and need to go change clothes. Could you please move aside?" As soon as I finished speaking, my stomach started growling from the physical exertion of diving. "Ha ha ha." Zane burst into laughter. "Thorn, you work around here every day, looking at such a luxurious hotel. Yet you can't stand the food here. You must often go hungry. Today you're in luck. You can enjoy the wine and food here as much as you like, and if you want to take some back with you, that's fine too." Zane raised his chin and stared at me with a look of contempt. As the sky grew darker, I didn't have time to bother with his show-off attitude. I just replied casually, "Then have the waiter send these to my room." He slapped the diving gear out of my hands with a loud slap and sneered, "Who do you think you are, talking to me like that? I've already given you face." As he spoke, he grabbed Alara by the neck and pulled her toward him, mockingly saying, "Your suitor is embarrassing me. Baby, this guy still has feelings for you." My patience was wearing thin and I was about to explode, but seeing how Zane treated Alara, I was truly shocked. It seemed her life wasn't going well either. Alara's face turned pale, but she dared not argue with Zane. She tried to explain, "Thorn, those years are long gone. Stop clinging to the past. I only love my husband Zane." I sneered and said, "Alara, you're overthinking things. Back then I was just blind to see you. Now, you're nothing more than a stranger to me. If you keep treating me like this, I won't hesitate to kick you out of my hotel." Zane found this hilarious and burst out laughing. "Thorn, you're really shameless lying to yourself like that. You think this hotel is yours. Why don't you just say the whole island is yours? This island is indeed mine." As soon as I finished speaking, everyone laughed even harder. "Ha ha ha, did you hear that? He's really bragging a lot. You think we're idiots just because you walked around the island once. You think it's yours. Not everyone has enough money to buy such a big island. It's really baffling." I didn't bother with this group of crazy people and kept walking forward. But Zane kept knocking my watch off. Seeing this, my face turned pale. "Don't touch him." Zane noticed my nervous expression as if he had discovered something new, and sneered at me. "Oh, you're finally getting nervous. Water ghost, this is clearly a fake. Why get so worked up?" He saw my uneasy expression and the obvious malice in his eyes, then kicked the watch into the crowd. Those who wanted to approach him immediately understood the situation and began to mock him. He was just putting on a show, thinking he was rich just because he was wearing a fake watch. Then someone else kicked my watch aside. Men are all about saving face. Ha 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 ha. My watch was being kicked around like trash. I suppressed my anger, lowered my voice, and said to them, "This watch is very important to me, really. If it gets damaged, you won't be able to afford it." They just laughed at me even more. "Who are you threatening? Is the watch really that important? Is the hotel yours? Is that island yours too? I think you might not be very clear about the situation." How funny. He's so stupid his brain must be soaked in seawater. The watch was kicked around by everyone and finally came to rest at Zane's feet. He stepped on it with force. His eyes filled with contempt and mockery. "You better be careful. Even a fake watch costs money. If you break it, you'll be sorry. Thorn, why don't you beg me? I can talk to your former boss and get you your job back. Otherwise, I'll crush it." I rushed over nervously and said, "Why should I beg you? Are you crazy? Give me back my watch." This watch was bought with the money my father saved his entire life. He knew I needed a watch to improve my business image, so he scrimped and saved to buy a used one. Though it's used, it holds irreplaceable emotions and hopes for me. I don't care what they mock me for, just don't touch what my father gave me, absolutely not. However, before I could get close, Zane threw the watch to Alara and told her to throw it into the grill. I watched her nervously, my voice trembling. "Alara, this watch is very important to me. You can't destroy it." Alara snorted coldly and said, "It's just a fake. It's the price you pay for boasting. Don't worry, I'll buy you another one. You'll come out ahead." With that, she tossed the watch into the oven without hesitation. Sparks flew, and I heard the sound of metal exploding. My heart ached and tears welled up in my eyes. "Everyone, look, he's crying." I ignored their mocking laughter and quickly grabbed the tongs by the oven, trying to retrieve the watch. Zane gave a signal, and his two companions immediately grabbed my wrists, knocking my tools to the ground. They pinned me down on my knees. And Zane looked down at me, kicking me in the shin. "If you had admitted defeat earlier, you wouldn't have to go through this. But you wouldn't listen. So you have to pay the price for disobedience. Do you really think you're so great?" The anger in my heart was about to consume me. Alara saw my pale face and felt a pang of sympathy. But she still said to Zane, "Honey, it's my birthday today. Don't make a scene. It's ruining the mood." Zane grew even angrier upon hearing this. He asked coldly, "Are you concerned about him?" Alara shook her head quickly. "Of course not. I don't care about him at all. He's just a useless person. I couldn't care less about him." "Fine, then prove it to me." Zane's gaze fell on the iron pliers on the ground. Alara's expression darkened and she seemed hesitant. Zane looked furious and bent down to pick up the iron pliers. At that moment, I seized the opportunity and kicked him hard, sending him flying. The two men behind me relaxed their grip, and I took the chance to break free, swinging my fists and landing hard blows on their faces. I didn't stop until blood began to flow. I love surfing and diving, so I'm in great shape and taller than them. If they hadn't outnumbered me, I wouldn't have lost so easily. I was so angry my eyes turned red as I glared coldly at Zane lying on the ground. "Today, I'll make him pay for this." I charged toward him, but suddenly, Alara hit me on the back of the head with a wine bottle. The wine spilled everywhere, covering my face with liquid. Tears streaming down my cheeks and my eyes were almost shut tight. Alara dropped the broken bottle and rushed to help Zane. "Darling, are you okay?" The next moment, a loud bang echoed in my ears. A searing pain erupted at the back of my head, and warm blood trickled down from the top of my scalp, feeling like someone had struck me with an iron bar. I collapsed to the ground, completely helpless. "You're here just in time. Call security. These people are causing trouble in the hotel." The manager's face turned pale upon hearing this. "This is a high-end hotel. Who dares to cause trouble here?" He was about to lose his temper when he turned and saw Zane, his expression immediately softening into a smile. His tone becoming polite. "Zane, what brings you here? What happened?" Alara spoke first, frowning. "How dare this man cause trouble at my party and hurt my husband?" Is this how you treat your VIP guests? Please get him out of here immediately." The manager bowed his head in apology. "Mrs. Harrington, Zane, I'm deeply sorry. This area is near an open beach, and we often have uninvited guests sneak in. I'll take him away right away." He waved his hand, and several security guards came over to pull me away. A young security guard hesitated before acting, whispering to the manager, "I think this man might be the chairman's husband." The manager slapped him hard across the face. "Are your eyes blind? Thorne is so handsome and wealthy. This guy couldn't possibly be him." I tried to wipe the blood off my face, but it only got worse. The security guards tried to drag me away again. Just then, a woman from the crowd shouted, "What are you doing here?" The manager turned around and saw her, immediately bowing deeply. "Serafina, someone is causing trouble at our hotel. I was trying to get rid of him." Zane's eyes lit up. "You're Serafina, I've heard your name." "I'm Zane from the Harrington Group." He took out a business card, handed it to her respectfully, and smiled. "I've booked 2 floors of your hotel today. Zane is looking forward to making your acquaintance." Some wealthy businessmen nearby grew excited and rushed over to introduce themselves. Serafina Lancaster furrowed her brows slightly, shifted her gaze from the business card, and scanned the crowd before looking in my direction. Seeing me lying on the ground covered in blood, she suddenly widened her eyes, pushed Zane aside, and rushed toward me anxiously. "Husband, who hurt you like this?" Her words left everyone around her speechless. Zane thought Serafina had mistaken him for someone else and stammered, "Serafina, he's just an old suitor of my wife. Why are you calling him husband? Did you get it wrong?" As he spoke, he waved at the security guards quickly. "Drag him away." Serafina ignored him and hurriedly had someone help me up. She suppressed her anger and slapped Zane. "Thorne is my lawful husband. How dare you treat him like this? Do you want to ruin your life?" Zane stood there frozen, as if struck by lightning, completely unresponsive. Alara's face also turned pale. "This can't be possible. How could Thorne be you?" I gently held Serafina's hand. "My watch is in the grill." Serafina immediately had someone go find it and asked anxiously, "What happened? How did you end up like this? Call an ambulance quickly." I patted her hand and told her it was nothing, just a minor injury, and there was no need to go to the hospital. She looked around frantically and hurried to find some mineral water to wash my face. After I finished washing my face, the manager finally recognized me, nearly falling over in shock. His voice trembled as he stammered, Thorne, I must be blind. I didn't recognize you earlier." He quickly ordered his subordinates, "Hurry, bring the gentleman's diving gear." I felt a little better inside but asked expressionlessly, "So you mean that if it weren't me, you would have treated someone else like this?" The manager trembled slightly, shaking his head repeatedly. "No, I made a mistake earlier. It was just a misunderstanding. I will always remember our hotel's service philosophy and never neglect any guest." The manager's change in attitude made Zane and Alara even more nervous. Alara said anxiously, "He's my follower. What's going on? How could Serafina possibly like him?" The manager's face turned pale, and he was about to lose his composure. "Don't call him a sycophant, you've all misunderstood. He's Serafina's husband." The people around us immediately changed their expressions. Those who had mocked me or treated me poorly earlier looked nervous. Those who had previously doubted the manager couldn't help but ask, "Thorne, are you really the husband of the president of the Lancaster Group?" "It seems so. Look how concerned Serafina is about him, even wiping his face herself." "Oh my God, when did Thorne become so rich?" Zane asked in astonishment. He's really Serafina's husband." At that moment, Serafina saw the blood on my head and was so worried she was about to cry. "Honey, are you okay? Don't scare me. Go get a doctor, quickly." I smiled reassuringly at her. "It's nothing, just a minor injury." Serafina wiped away her tears, turned around and glared coldly at everyone. "Who attacked my husband?" Someone hurriedly pointed at the man who had hit me earlier and said, "It was him who hit you with a wine bottle." "Serafina, I'm Jet Carlson from Carlson Trading. I guarantee it was this man who attacked your husband." The man was fawning over him and pushed the attacker forward. Serafina stepped forward, raised her hand and slapped him. "How dare you hit my husband? I don't care who you are. Anyone who dared to bully my husband today will not go unpunished." Those who had mocked me couldn't help but shrink back, all turning to look at Alara and Zane. Zane was the one who instigated this, and if Alara hadn't thrown the wine bottle at me first, I wouldn't have been attacked out of nowhere. Alara, however, looked at me with a complicated expression and said, "Thorn, when did you get married? You actually love me, don't you?" I sat on the chair the manager had brought for me, while the doctor who had rushed over to tend to my wounds was busy. "Why can't I get married? I already told you I was just passing by. I've long since considered you a stranger." I held Serafina's hand. "Dear, it's all my fault. Our date is ruined." Alara's expression changed drastically. First disbelief, then shock, followed by pallor and finally utter silence. Perhaps I once pampered her excessively, willing to comply with her every whim, right or wrong, and care for her without reservation. But she was right. 7 years have passed, and if we count the previous life, even longer. Everything between us is already in the past. How could I possibly long for those days? She has found the happiness she believes in, and I have a new lover and a brand new career. This life of mine is incredibly happy. After everyone present learned my true identity, their opinions of me completely changed, from mockery to flattery. Who would have thought that Thorn would become the son-in-law of the Lancaster family? That's far more prestigious than the Feng family. Thorn, how could you not invite us old colleagues to such an important event as your wedding? We wanted to give you a big red envelope. Earlier, Feng Ling Feng threw his watch into the barbecue grill. That watch seemed pretty expensive, didn't it? Lucky it wasn't me who threw it. I couldn't afford to replace it. Serafina heard this and turned around in shock, glaring angrily at Feng Ling Feng. "Zane, what's going on? You need to explain this to me." Zane was startled. "Serafina, it's all a misunderstanding. I have a new watch here. What style does Serafina like?" "I can give you one. I don't need it. My husband's watch is a custom-made gold and black submariner, worth a whopping 1 million yuan. It holds special meaning to him. You have to compensate 3 times the value, which is 3 million yuan." Hearing this, everyone gasped in shock, finally understanding why I had said earlier that those people couldn't afford to compensate for the watch. The people who had been kicking the watch immediately relaxed. Zane clenched his teeth and suddenly pointed at those people, saying, "Serafina, those people kicked your husband's watch like a ball. Let them compensate you, but they're not wealthy. I, Zane, don't care about the money. I can help them handle it. 4 million is both compensation and an apology. It also means there's some connection between me and Serafina. Perhaps you don't know, but my wife used to be with Thorn. Thorn deliberately showed up at her birthday party, and I was furious at the time, so I did something inappropriate." His words clearly carried a provocative tone, directly implying that I had come here today specifically to find my old lover. After all, compared to Alara, who has no background and can't help him in any way, Serafina is definitely a better choice. Today, if Serafina gets angry and kicks me out, he might end up with her, marrying into the Lancaster family, forming a powerful alliance and truly becoming a winner in life. After being reborn, if it weren't for Alara getting pregnant and refusing to have an abortion, which was exposed by the media, he wouldn't have married her for that reason. He probably thinks that my marriage to Serafina isn't appropriate, and there might be other reasons behind it. He wants to give Serafina a chance to deal with me, the obstacle in her way. Alara immediately grabbed Zane's hand and hurriedly distanced herself from me. "Husband, don't say that. Thorn and I have already separated. We have no relationship. All of this is just Thorn's own imagination." Zane angrily pushed her away. Don't think I didn't see the way you were acting earlier. His own wife still has feelings for her first love, and he deliberately wears tight clothes to show off his muscles. Does he think I'm blind? Serafina frowned slightly and looked at me. Husband, you're so annoying. How did you get your muscles so good even men are jealous of you? I smiled helplessly and whispered in her ear, others can only look, but only you can touch. She blushed and pushed me gently. Really, Zane didn't expect this outcome. He had intended to drive a wedge between us, but instead it made us seem even more in love. He was so angry he could barely control himself. Serafina, let me tell you, this Zane is no ordinary man. He used to work at the same company as Alara. After his proposal was rejected, he immediately quit his job to pursue other targets. Of course, he's good-looking and has a great body, but men like him are best at using their appearance to deceive women. He doesn't even have a stable job now. Yet he still wants to use your money to enjoy life with other women. Today, you've finally seen his true colors. A man who relies solely on his appearance. His real goal is to scam you out of your money. I smiled and took Serafina's hand, placing it on my chest. We met by the beach. That day, the waves were huge, and she was swept into the water. I saved her and performed CPR on her. When she woke up, she was in my arms. At that moment, she suddenly squeezed my chest muscle. Later, she told me she fell in love with me at first sight and felt I had attracted her. So Feng Ling Feng was half right. I did make Serafina fall for me. My startup received strong support from the Lancaster family, and it seemed to take off overnight. Although we've been married for many years, Serafina still blushed and looked at me deeply, saying, I was drawn to him and I'm willing to do this. However, when it comes to money, my husband is much wealthier than me. The manager beside us interjected. Serafina is right. Zane is the boss of Everlie Group. Zane was surprised and asked, What, are you talking about the Everlie Group? The Everlie Group that started from scratch and built itself into a top-tier national business empire in just 7 years. Alara was not only shocked but also a bit overwhelmed. Thorn, when did you become so successful? Why didn't you tell me? She stared at me in disbelief, her eyes wide open. She never imagined that an ordinary person like me could undergo such a drastic transformation in just 7 years and become a figure on the wealthy list. At that moment, she couldn't help but feel regret. In my previous life, when I was riding my bicycle to deliver sunflowers to Alara, I happened to see Zane driving a sports car loaded with red roses, passionately pursuing our company's deputy general manager. Unbeknownst to him, the deputy general manager rejected him on the spot. Zane, his pride wounded, turned to pursue Alara, who was present at the time, asking her to be his girlfriend. Suddenly, a stranger asked Alara to be his girlfriend, and she was worried about offending her superior. So she refused. As a result, she turned around and threw herself into my arms. Later, Alara and I got married while Zane married the daughter of a wealthy man. After marriage, Zane was always out partying and involved in scandals. He wasn't a faithful person, as evidenced by the fact that he was still with her even after I married Alara. However, Alara longed for a wealthy life and wanted to become the envy of everyone as a wealthy wife. She had been dreaming of this for a long time. So, in her second chance at life, she realized Zane wasn't the faithful type, but she still went to great lengths. She was the one who suggested not using condoms. She arranged the paparazzi, and even created opportunities to meet the Harrington family's parents, all to leave a good impression on them. In the end, she succeeded, forcing Zane to marry her. Alara finally fulfilled her dream, marrying into a wealthy family and becoming Mrs. Harrington. She now lives a life of luxury, envied by others. However, at the same time, she must endure Zane's extravagant lifestyle and his affairs with many beautiful women. She feels happy, but also suffers deeply. Her attitude toward your feelings was unique. She always chose to ignore certain things, appearing to live a perfect life on the surface, envied by others. But in the quiet of the night, she would recall her past life, remembering my genuine love and care for her, and the simple yet happy life we once shared. She loved me, but her ordinary living conditions made her feel inadequate. If she had known that I would go on to found Everlie Group and become a wealthy man, marrying me would have been the best choice. Now she regrets it and feels desperate and angry. Are you marrying her to punish me on purpose? You're angry that I left you. I smiled slightly. I married her because I love Serafina. It has nothing to do with you. When an important guest passed by, Serafina went to greet them. Zane felt a bit torn, then smiled at me and said, "Thorn, you're truly magnanimous. We got to know each other gradually. I know you still like Alara. Tell me a time, and I'll have her come serve you. She's been well trained by me. I guarantee you'll be satisfied. There are no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. I hope we can collaborate in the future and develop together." Alara was stunned. She knew Zane was promiscuous and unfaithful in marriage, but she never expected him to sacrifice his wife for his own interests. I also didn't expect Zane to be so unrepentant. There's no point in getting involved with someone like him. I turned to look at the stunned Alara. I had dinner plans with my wife. I was diving and happened to pass by here, which is how I ran into you too. If I had known you were coming to the hotel, I would never have agreed to let you stay here. To avoid making my wife angry, please leave immediately. Zane, seeing that I didn't care about him and wanted them to leave, lost face and immediately changed his tone. Fuming, "If you don't want to stay, then don't. There are plenty of hotels here. You have money and I have money. I'm not afraid of you." After being kicked out of the hotel, they realized that I was indeed the island's owner. No hotel was willing to accommodate them, and they had to leave the island in a hurry, while waiting for the boat at the pier. I happened to be walking along the beach with Serafina. Alara ran over and called out to me. I told Serafina to wait for me. She trusted our relationship and respected me. So she nodded silently and stepped aside. Alara looked at me with a mix of resentment and confusion. "Thorn, you love me so much. Have you really forgotten everything?" I found it strange that she was still dwelling on this issue. Perhaps in a previous life, I was too obsessed with her, forgotten because I no longer loved her. Hearing my cold and brief response, tears began to well up in Alara's eyes. "But I still love you. I always think of you." I interrupted her. "No, you don't love me. You only love yourself, the luxurious life, money, and vanity." Her face turned pale. "No, I just want a better life. This time you can fulfill my desires." I grew impatient. "Did you forget that you abandoned our child to attend Zane's party? You also forgot that in the previous life, you were the one who ended my life. What do you expect me to feel toward a murderer?" Alara froze, her lips trembling, unable to speak. She left in a hurry. After that, I didn't intend to take action. But the Harrington family's business ran into trouble. After all, the news of Zane being driven away by me spread quickly, and no one wanted to offend both the Harrington family and the Lancaster family, two of the wealthiest families in the city. Zane was also questioned and blamed by his family, resulting in the revocation of all his positions in the company. Zane blamed everything on Alara, treating her harshly and even resorting to physical violence. He was also strict with their children and brought other women home to take care of them. Alara couldn't take it anymore and uploaded photos and videos of Zane's domestic violence and infidelity online, hoping to make him listen and behave himself. However, this time, Zane not only refused to back down but became even more violent. In a fit of rage, he threw the child out of the window, resulting in the child's immediate death. Alara screamed in agony, and in that moment, she finally understood the heartbreak of losing a child as a mother. In the end, she completely broke down and lost her mind. Feng Lingfeng was drinking and partying with several people at a bar, while Alara hugged a worn-out toy doll, crying loudly and venting her emotions, creating a chaotic scene. I turned off my phone screen and hugged Serafina tightly, feeling a bit down. She looked up at me. "Darling, do you want a baby?" I nodded and kissed her lips with a smile. The atmosphere grew increasingly passionate, and the room was filled with a warm, cozy feeling.